Hello friends, I am Ganesh Subramanian, founder director of Ganesh IAS Academy, which is operating since 2001 in Chennai, both Ananagar and Kurumpet. And I have been teaching for civil examination since 1999, and I have an experience of more than 20 years in coaching to this exam. My objective of coming to you through this channel is to help you crack the civil service examination. As we all know, the civil service examination is conducted in two stages. One is a preliminary screening exam and the other is a main examination. And in turn, the main examination has two stages, namely main written examination and personality test. While the prelims exam is of objective type with two papers, wherein General Studies Paper 1 will have 100 questions which carries, and each question will carry 2 marks and is for 200 marks. And the second General Studies paper is commonly understood to be CSAT paper, Civil Service Aptitude Test paper, which also has carries 200 marks but with 80 questions. In fact, your CSAT is a qualifying paper. If only a candidate gets qualified in CSAT by securing 66 marks, that is 1/3 of the total marks, his or her General Studies paper 1 will be evaluated, and whatever the candidate scores out of 200 in the General Studies paper 1 will help him or her to get qualified to the main written examination. And the cutoff varies year on year. It is not a fixed cutoff, but it varies from year to year, and that is the reason why you have to be pretty much careful. Further, you also have negative marking, and we have to handle the negative marking also. Generally, in the prelims, it is required the cutoff hovers between 95 and 115. Sometimes, scarcely it may go beyond 120, but generally in the past, it has been hovering around 95 to 115 on an average for 200 marks. And now comes the question, how do I crack this exam? Right? How do I crack this exam? See, as it is said, well begun is half done. It is essential for one to understand the exam to crack it without much of difficulty. So my purpose to come to you is to help you understand the exam so that it will be possible for you to handle the exam and crack it without much of difficulty. And in the main examination, as we know, it is a written examination based on narrative answer type or essay type, descriptive answer questions, descriptive type test. In the main exam written part, there are 9 papers, of which 2 are qualifying language papers. One is English, compulsory for all, and the other is any regional language what you may choose. For instance, a candidate from Tamil Nadu can choose Tamil, a candidate from any other state, for instance, Karnataka may choose Kannada, or Andhra Pradesh may choose Telugu. So it depends upon the choice of the candidate. Unless and otherwise a candidate qualifies in these 2 papers. Qualifying here refers to getting the minimum score based on the cutoff set by the UPSC for that particular area of exam. It can also vary. Only if you get through, your other 9 papers will be evaluated, and if a candidate fails to get through, fails to secure the cutoff mark as fixed by the UPSC in the language papers, then any one of the language papers for that matter, then his candidature is subjected to rejection, and his other papers will not be evaluated at all. And what are the other 7 papers? There are 4 General Studies paper, 1 essay paper, and 2 papers in an optional subject that the candidate has to choose. And when the candidate secures a necessary cutoff in the main written examination, he will be qualified to the 3rd stage of personality test. The 2nd stage of main exam and 3rd stage of the whole process, which is a personality test, he will be qualified if he secures the cutoff as fixed for that year, depending upon the category. Right? You know, there are several categories. General categories there, economically weaker sections are there, other backward classes, SC, ST. and also physically challenged people, differently abled people who have 2% reservation internally in all the categories. Now comes an important question. How do I crack this question? See, when it comes to writing the exam, there are different sets of people. Some of you might have already taken the exam and you have taken multiple times, because a candidate belonging to general category will be eligible for appearing the exam for 6 attempts between the age of 21 and 32. And in case of other backward classes, a candidate will get 3 more years of age relaxation from 32 and 3 more additional attempts. So in total, a candidate belonging to other backward classes would be eligible for writing the exam between 21 and 35 years, and he will be having 6 plus 3, 9 attempts. And SC and ST candidates can appear in the examination until they complete 37 years and as many number of times as it is being conducted, no bar in the number of attempts. Now some of you may ask me, sir, I have been giving the attempts repeatedly, but I have never cleared the prelims at least once. What do you have to say for me? Some of you may say that, sir, I'm planning to give the attempt, and I'm pretty much sure that I have to get into civil service in very first attempt. If so, what should I do? And some of you may say, I am now in the college only, I am planning to appear in the examination, I am going to start now, what should I do? Do I have to do anything that is very important? If so, tell me what I should do. So there are different classes of people to whom we have to address. But let me tell you, for all the category of people, whether you have been appearing but not being able to crack the exam, or whether you want to do it in your very first attempt, or whether you are planning to appear in the examination, whatever it is, and whichever category you belong to, that is immaterial. All that what you need to do is to understand the exam. As I already mentioned to you, and we all know, a well begun is half done. So our beginning should be proper. And how do I begin when it comes to this exam? I would suggest you have to understand the exam. Understanding the exam here refers to understanding the pattern and understanding how the questions are asked, and then positioning our preparation accordingly. In fact, the nature of the solution largely and squarely depends on the nature of the problem itself. So if we say that the problem in hand now is to clear the examination, civil service examination, then obviously what you need to do is to prepare, and your preparation must be totally aligned to the examination only. Now, how do I align? I have one formula to share with you. Most of the competitive examinations, including the civil service examination, is based on the current affairs. When it comes to general studies paper, be it prelims, be it mains, or be it personality test, and even in the optional subjects, I am sure 80 to 85% of the questions are having a base in the current affairs. They are based on the current affairs only. I can give you several examples. Including the last year questions and all the previous year questions. Near about 85% of the questions have their base on the current affairs. So the one line formula, if I were to tell you, is to focus on current affairs. And I'll give you an example as well. Let us take the preliminary examination. In the prelims syllabus, if you take, there are multiple subjects. Say there is Indian Constitution, Indian polity, there is Indian economy, there is Indian history and Indian national freedom struggle, and then geography, world and Indian geography, environmental science, Indian society, current affairs and science, and technological developments in India. Though there are 7 different subjects, what is being asked or what will be asked as a question to test a candidate for preliminary examination will be based on current affairs. Any current issue for that matter will have a bearing on the exam, and based on that only the questions are asked. For instance, today we have COVID-19, and because of the impact of COVID-19, our lifestyle has changed. We have started practicing so many things which we overlooked in the past. For example, we don't have, though we wash and keep ourselves neat and clean, we are now taking extra care with respect to personal hygiene. More specifically, we wash our hands and sanitize our hands with a kind of obsessive compulsion disorder. Quite often we wash our hands or we sanitize our hands. Now my question is, what is the level of alcohol by volume in the sanitizer? What is that alcohol that is being used in preparing the hand sanitizers? Is it methyl alcohol or butyl alcohol or propyl alcohol? What is that is being used? What is the operating functional group of alcohol in organic chemistry? So I can ask you a chemistry question from COVID, or I can ask you a biology question from COVID. What is the difference between a bacteria and a virus? While we talk about vaccines for virus, why don't we talk about vaccines for bacteria? Are there any vaccine for bacteria? What are the different types of viruses? I can ask you a biology question, or I can ask you an economic question as well. How COVID has impacted the economy? Say for instance the MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises. What steps have been taken? Right? What do you mean by the moratorium of loan? And how long the moratorium was given? And what steps with respect to handling the economy RBI took during COVID? So many questions are available. And so many questions can be asked. I hope you understand. So likewise, we have to follow the current affairs. And from the current affairs, there can be several questions which could be asked, and based on the current affairs only, you are going to be tested. So, to make our preparation something that is formidable, we have to focus on current affairs and how questions can be extrapolated from the current happenings with respect to prelims. And that is my objective. And for the next 30 days, through this channel, I am going to meet you with current affairs issues and the possible questions every day, one video every day. We shall discuss, take up issues, what is that issue, how the questions can be asked, and what are the different questions that may be potentially asked from that issue. We shall discuss for the next 30 days, and we shall travel together targeting the prelims, and let us crack it and come out with flying colors. Thank you friends. If you had not subscribed to this video, please do subscribe and share it with your friends, and let us discuss and crack the exam together. Thank you.